Hello students, welcome to the Karnataka State DCE LMS e-learning platform. In today's session, let us learn about microtechnique. What is microtechnique? Microtechnique is the art of preparation for microscopic animal observation. This microtechnique is not just used in zoology but also in botany and microbiology. And this microtechnique consists of 5 major steps. They are fixation, embedding, microtomy, staining and finally mounting. Here in the image to the right hand corner, you can see how a microtechnique in microbiology is done. So I've taken a very simple example of a bacterial culture. So a bacterial culture is smeared onto a clean glass slide. It is then heat fixed and then subject to staining, and then it is air dried so that it is ready for microscopic observation. So microtechnique is all about the right way of processing a slide so that it is ready for microscopic observation. Now let us learn about these steps in detail. So the first step is fixation. So what is the objective of fixation? Basically it is to preserve cells and tissue components in a lifelike state. So what happens is, once the tissue is deprived of blood supply, it tends to degenerate. So we have to arrest that degenerative process so that it does not lose its properties. So it looks like a lifelike state. What happens is basically autolysis begins, that is the tissue gets digested by the intracellular enzymes when the organelles membranes get ruptured. So it can also lead to bacterial decomposition, and so in order to prevent these processes we have to do fixation. So the fixation of the tissue can be achieved by 2 means, that is one by physical means, other one by chemical means. So the first one is physical methods of fixation. So it includes heating, microwaving and cryopreservation. In heat fixation, it is rarely used on tissue specimens, but rather it is most useful for microscopic organisms like microbes. So it is mostly employed to fix microbes. Say for example, in the image given below, you can see how heat fixation is done. That is, we are going to subject the slide to direct heat of Bunsen burner, not directly, I mean not on top of the flame, slightly above the flame, so that the heat can fix the organism to its place. The second one being microwave fixation. So this is also a form of heat fixation, and it is practiced in most histopathological laboratories. Then coming to cryopreservation, it is the form of freeze drying and has applications in histochemistry, but it is not used in any diagnostic tissue specimens. Then the next method is chemical fixation. So this can be achieved by immersing the specimen or the tissue in the fixative chemical or the fixative immersion. So the commonly used chemical fixatives are formaldehyde, acetic acid, ethanol, methanol, acetone and picric acid. Here in the image below, you can see how the tissue is placed in 10% formalin so that the tissue gets fixed to maintain that lifelike state. Now moving on to the second step, that is embedding. So basically embedding is a process in which the tissues or the specimens, they are enclosed in a mass of embedding media using a mold. So since the tissue blocks are very thin in thickness, they need a supporting medium in which the tissue blocks are embedded. So this supporting media is called as embedding media. Why embedding is important is because, one, the tissue is very soft to take a section. So in order to give its rigidity, we have to embed it in an embedding medium so that it becomes easier to dice it or to take sections out of it. So that is the importance of embedding. In the image to the right hand corner, you can see how the tissue is being processed in 3 different steps. So the second step is all about embedding. So here you can see that the tissue is first fixed in a media, then it is rinsed, dehydrated, and then it is immersed in wax. So this wax immersion is nothing but embedding, so that once the wax solidifies or it cools down, it becomes a solid block. which can be then subject to sectioning using a microtome. So that there lies the importance of embedding. One, the tissue is too soft to be subject to section, so therefore in order to strengthen the tissue, it is placed in a mold and then it is placed in an embedding media, so that we get a hard cube of tissue which is embedded, which can be subject to slicing or to sectioning. So the choice of embedding media depends on the type of microscope, the type of microtome used, and the type of tissue, that is whether it's a soft tissue or a hard tissue. Say for example, the commonly used embedding media is, or embedding agents are, paraffin wax, celloidin, resin, agar, etc. So the paraffin wax is used to cut mostly soft tissue, whereas celloidin is used for cutting hard tissue. It's basically a purified form of nitrocellulose. And we use a variety of molds. The common ones are L mold or Leuchard mold, paper blocks, and plastic molds. Here in the image you can see how a L mold, basically they are L-shaped letters, so when they are come together it forms a mold. So this is the Leuchard mold, and you can see some stainless steel molds and plastic molds. So these stainless steel molds are mostly used to process smaller tissue, and plastic molds are very convenient to use and they are cost effective as well. Here I've just demonstrated how embedding is done in an L mold in a traditional way. So these L molds are bought together, they are bought together, and small amount of glycerin is applied to the tips of the L mold and they are placed together. We have to note that there has to be at least 2 mm gap between the mold and that of the tissue placed. So this is done in order to ensure that the tissue is placed somewhere in the center, so it becomes easier to take sections. If it is attached to the L mold, we may lose tissue while we take sections. So in order to avoid all those mishaps, we always ensure the tissue is mostly placed in the center. Even if it is not exactly in the center, at least we have to ensure that there is at least 2 mm space between that of the mold and tissue. So once the molds are brought together, some amount of paraffin wax, molten wax, is poured into the mold, and then the tissue is placed gently using warm forceps, and then once it is flattened, we have to by placing some pressure on the paraffin wax, we ensure that the tissue is placed straight, and once we ensure it is even and flat, then we pour the rest of the wax in order to fill the mold. Once it is full, once the cassette is filled with wax, it is subject to cooling, and once it is cooled, the mold is removed so that we get a block, that is the embedded block. Here in the image you can see how the L-shaped metal plate are brought together and the tissue is placed in the center with paraffin wax around. After the mold is ready, it is subject to sectioning. So how do we take section? Usually in labs we use blades to take section. Mostly for botany we would have done that. To take sections we use a stainless steel blade, but here it is not useful. So the simple blade is not used for tissue sections because we do not get the thin slice. So in order to get the thin slice, it is subject to a microtome, or a microtomy is being performed. What is a microtome? Basically micros means small and to tome is to cut. So it's basically a cutting tool used to produce extremely thin slices of materials known as sections. So microtomes are used in microscopy. It allows for the preparation of samples for observation under electron microscope as well as light microscope. It can be used. So here in the image you can see how a modern microtome device looks like and how microtome device looked earlier. So it's an older version of microtome device. So microtome basically uses steel, glass or diamond blades depending on the specimen that is being sliced and the thickness that we desire to cut. So steel blades are used to prepare histological sections of animal tissues for light microscope, whereas glass knives and industrial grade diamond knives are used for electron microscope. Even glass knives can be used for light microscopes as well. So the microtome sections, say for example, can be made thin enough of that of a hair across its breadth with a section thickness between 50 nanometer to 100 micrometer. So we can get a section as thin as 50 nanometers. So that is the advantage of using a microtome, especially if you are using a industrial grade diamond knife. So here in the image you can see how a microtome blade, typical microtome blade of stainless steel looks like. So it varies from the regular stainless steel blades that we use for common laboratory purpose. And the next step is staining. Once we get a thin section, then it can be stained. So the section is placed on the glass slide and it is subject to staining. So what is the advantage of staining? It helps to improve the visibility by greater contrast between the organism and the background, so that we can differentiate various morphological types. We can determine the staining characteristic of organism, and also at times it can help in the direct diagnosis of the disease. We can demonstrate the purity of culture. We can also observe certain structures like flagella and so on. So now let us know the difference between stain and that of a dye. Dye is a general purpose coloring agent, whereas stain is a organic compound which contains a benzene ring plus a chromophore and an oxochrome group, which is used to color biological agents. So dye can be used on top of anything, even the clothes can be dyed, whereas when it comes to biological materials, we don't use dye, rather we use stains. So there are two types of staining techniques, namely simple staining, where we use only single stain, and differential staining, where we use two contrasting stains. So let us learn about simple staining and differential staining. Simple staining. So it's a staining method that uses only one single stain which does not differentiate between different types of organisms. So we use only one stain for the entire slide. So this is known as simple staining. So it is only a single step and everything is stained with the same color, and it is used to stain either whole cells or specific cellular components. Some of the examples of simple stain are methylene blue, crystal violet, and basic fustian or the saffronin stain. So here in the image you can see how simple staining is carried out. An air dried slide is taken, it is flooded with the stain, it is washed in order to remove the excess, it is air dried and immediately placed under the microscope for direct observation. So simple staining is as easy or as simple as this. Moving on to the differential staining, here the staining is done using two or more chemical stains. So we are using multiple stains so that we can better differentiate between different microorganisms or different structures or different cellular components of a single organism. So differential staining is also used to detect abnormalities in proportion in WBC cells, and the process or the result is known as a WBC differential. So this test is useful because many diseases alter the proportion of certain WBC cells. So by analyzing these differences in combination with the clinical exam or other lab tests, medical professionals can actually diagnose what disease it is. Now, the best example to understand differential staining is the Gram staining technique. So in Gram staining, we know that we are using two stains, the first one being crystal violet, and in the last stage we are using saffronin. So by doing this, we are able to differentiate between a gram positive and a gram negative bacteria. So the other differential staining methods are acid fast stains or acid fast staining, where two stains, namely fustian and methylene blue, is used. Other best example for differential staining is Schiefer-Fulton method, where malachite green and saffronin are used, and there are so many other examples for differential staining as well. So here in the picture you can see how we are able to differentiate between gram positive and gram negative bacteria by using two stains, that is crystal violet and saffronin. So this is known as Gram staining. I'm sure you're all aware of this. And now moving on to the last step, that is mounting. So what is mounting? It's actually the last step in the series, so that we get a permanent histological preparation after the tissue is being processed and stained. So the mounting media is a solution in which the specimen is embedded, generally under a cover glass. So it may be a liquid, it may be gum, it can be resinous, it can be soluble in water, it can be alcohol or any other such solvents, and it is sealed from the outside atmosphere by non-soluble ringing media. To give a simple example of this ringing media, suppose we are doing a temporary slide, we are going to use nail polish to seal the corners of the cover slip. So this can be also considered as a ringing media. So it is a very naive method of sealing the cover slip, but in advanced methods we use a particular ringing media so that the specimen is not in contact with the outside media. The main purpose of the mounting media is basically to physically protect the specimen. The mounting media bonds the specimen, the slide and the cover slip together with a clear durable film. And this mounting media should have an refractive index, mostly that of glass, that is Ri should be somewhere around 1.5. Here in the image you can see how cover slip is carefully placed over the specimen, so over a mountant. So the mounting media can be classified into resinous or hydrophobic media and aqueous media or hydrophilic media. So the resinous media are nothing but natural or synthetic resins which are dissolved in benzene, toluene or xylene and are used when permanent mount is required. So adhesives harden through solvent evaporation and thereby fix the accompanying cover slip to the slide. The resinous media examples include Canada balsam, I'm sure you would have used it in regular laboratories, DPX very commonly used, and other example is phenol balsam. So these are some of the common examples for resinous mounting media. Moving on to aqueous mounting media, it is used for mounting sections from distilled water when the stains would be decolorized or removed by alcohol and xylene. Mostly in case of fat stains. So aqueous media include water, glycerol, Hyman's media, fructose syrup, polyvinyl alcohol. So here in this case the most commonly used is glycerol. So after the mountant is used, a cover slip is placed gently over the media, mounting media, so that there are no air bubbles. So it has to be done delicately so that there are no air bubbles, and it is allowed to dry completely until it all evaporates and hardens. So that it is ready for observation under microscope. Here in the image you can see DPX and Canada balsam, which are the most commonly used resinous mounting media. To summarize, this microtechnique is the art of preparation for microscopic animal observation or tissue observation, and the steps involved in microtechnique include fixation, embedding, microtomy, staining and mounting. Thanks for watching.